Okay, a little bit of a slightly light-hearted, a little bit of a more chatty message, and that is my approach and a variety of approaches to models. I was thinking today, there are modelers who the goal that they have is for every model that they build, it's going in a cabinet and it's on display. There's some very, very nice displays out there. People with rows and rows of beautiful glass cabinets or whatever, or shelves. And mostly every model that they do is a real showpiece, which is very, very nice. I'm not one of those. I have nice models in a showcase. I also have half completed things, 3/4 completed things, and a whole variety and anything and everything in between. So when I take on a model like this, so the first aspect that I'll mention is expectation. If I take on something like this, my expectation is this is going to go really well. This can make a showcase model. And my approach to it, to start off with, is exactly that. I am treating it with more perfectionism. I'm going to be trying to get everything right. I'm going to be disappointed with myself if I mess up on a model of this quality. I'm probably going to be doing less experiments on stuff like that. If I take on a model like this, I might enjoy it just as much, and I'm not sure if it'll end up being a showcase model. My expectation is more interesting work to be done on this one, more challenging construction. I need to accept that there's less detail, possibly. Some older kits are not too bad at all. Some leave you with a lot to be desired. But it is possible that you just make a really, really great model of an older kit. So I start out with a different expectation. If things don't go quite according to plan on that, I'm not very upset. I'm slightly disappointed, but not too bad. With this model, I guess I'm a little bit more disappointed at the amount of filling that I had to do, but I don't mind learning lessons from models. I don't want to learn that lesson on a good model. There's no need to learn it on a Tamiya, and you probably aren't going to learn it on a Tamiya. Although, having said that, back to the bike models and all of those problems that I mentioned with the CX500. Now it's a different category of problem to the aircraft structure problems, but still, I don't mind learning those lessons. I don't mind facing this so that I'm even more aware of it for later builds. I'm happy to take on stuff like this, where the quality is, quite low, but you can still make an absolutely beautiful model of that. And I will be attempting to do so. So it's quite a simple model, but when I eventually tackle that one, the goal is to make a display shelf model. I'm not too disappointed if things go wrong, but I've got there's not just one or two approaches. I've got other models, probably like this one, where I knew starting out that this particular brand was not in the top 5 brands, maybe not even the top 10 brands. I can't remember what it was. But can I make a very nice Spitfire out of it? And if I don't, what are the problem areas? And that teaches me for other models. Lessons learned on something like that can be applied to something like that. So there's enough good Spitfires out there, so why do I even bother with it? I bother with it because it challenges my structural and basic assembly skills, and it's possible that things could have worked out really well with this one. So now that the alignment or wing fit isn't as great as it could be, this is more likely to become an interesting weathering technique model, where it'll still be a very nice model, but the main goal of it was different from other models. I just like building old airfix. So, and as long as I've built, I still make mistakes. And on this one, the vertical, it's not that easy to see. The vertical stabilizers on each side ended up being slightly canted out to accommodate that. So how should I have corrected that? Well, the only way is that those tail booms, even though they've got mounting pins on there, I should have ensured that they adjusted slightly out. There would have been a slight amount of play when I put them on, and I've obviously chosen, I can't remember how much play there was, but if there wasn't, I should have made a decision and looking at that, and although I think I did, that's the result, slightly canted out. Yes, that is disappointing, but it's okay. On the wings, an example of that sanded detailing. So the Airfix has the raised detail, but it's not raised here now. Now it's almost gone, and yet you've still got the full visual effect. I haven't done the undersurface, so there you can see some of the sanding. That's just the base coat preparing for a black lower surface color. So yeah, practicing various things. Things didn't go great on my canopies. They went okay on one or two of them, but that's where I get my practice on doing, difficult canopy fits and things like that. This one is another example where the aircraft was painted silver to start with, so that after it's been painted blue and I sand lightly, removing all of the high detail, I end up with it shining through, looking like the aircraft's actual surface, an aluminium skin coming through. Now, I mean, yeah, one can argue, of course, that isn't entirely realistic, because you don't pick up equal wear. It might have been true of some surfaces which pick up a lot of scuffing, not the whole area. But I wasn't out on this model to reproduce an exact war weathering replica. I was out to produce a acceptable model to me on the on the display shelf. This is not the greatest of models, but it's not the worst of models. It's nothing like new recessed panel lines and all of that. But can I turn the monogram into a very nice build? This one, as far as I can remember, used very little filler. And I was pretty happy. I think everything, the symmetry on this one is really, really good. So just need to get back to that one. I enjoy these builds where each one offers a different aspect of practice. This is a very, very old frog model. Now, of course, there's so many better Wessex models than this. But I liked the box art, and for a fairly simple model, I thought I could do a quick build. Now, this was very great, and this is very memorable, because on this one, the undercarriage, the plastic undercarriage, was a disaster. Even the tail undercarriage there. So the aspect, apart from getting a nice finish, was to rebuild the undercarriage in metal which I did. So that is a completely strong undercarriage. That'll be the last thing that breaks on this model. There was nothing in the cockpit here, and I wanted it to look like a little bit of an age thing, standing in the standing on an airfield somewhere unused for years and years, so the windscreens would hardly be you can't see through them, and they're a little bit dirty and all, which I think I've achieved well. You can't quite see it coming through on there. Of course, there's aspects of the model that are not up to standard at all, but it fits what my approach was for that model. So that's sort of what I was going to say, is if you do get modelers who lean towards perfection all the time. They only build the best kits, and they build them really well, and perfection is present the whole time. But you can allow yourself to do a method of modeling where you like a topic, it wasn't the best model, and you're okay with just messing around with it, trying things if you enjoy that. I do. I enjoy while it's on my workbench more than when it's on a display shelf. So all of the models that are in display shelves, I don't go back and look at them much. I mean, of course I do occasionally, but a lot of them just stand there. So this sort of thing, this is this one, which of course you'll immediately recognize. Now that is the old Frog kit as well, a very, very old model, very thick plastic, and the worst rivet detail that you've ever seen. The highest and roughest surface that you've ever seen, but you can sand it down and still achieve the same sort of effect as that, where you still retain all of the detail of the visual effect of the detail, but not the rough feel. The amount of work that you're prepared to put into a model, that'll differ from modeler to modeler, subject to subject. I happen to like the Shackleton, and I have the new one as well. But the new one, the new Airfix one, is a totally different build. It's very easy. It's got a lot of parts, but I mean, it's an easy build. It's going to go together well, and you can do your weathering, and you can make a beautiful model. But you didn't really need to do anything during construction. I will say that this represents on the taller side of how much effort I'm prepared to put into correcting an old model, but it's still worth it to me there. I think that was much of what I wanted to say about the my approach to modeling. I'm okay to have disasters because I'm okay to take on such a variety of models. Why I'm okay to see a bunch of models for sale and choose random topics purely because I like the topic and not because of the model quality. Now, I said in another video that I don't really want to take on vac forms. I do build the odd vac form, and I will, because again it fits into this thing of, well, it's a different type of challenge. And I have decided to do one this year. I'm going to do the little Blériot 11, which has minimal vac form. So I've made life easy for myself in that really there's only the wings, and I think possibly the tail plane as well. And because the Blériot is so small, you can almost regard the vac form parts as plastic parts. That's a bit of a different thing when you go to bigger vac form things. I have one of my Harvards is vac form, which I'll still show you in a video. And there's a variety of other things. I mean, I may on occasion 3D print a part or two for a model. I may do a number of interesting things for a model. So ponder that. Consider doing things outside of what you normally do, and don't be harsh on yourself. Let it just be. If you're taking on a motorbike for the first time, accept that things might not go as planned, because you're not used to the way a motorbike goes together, and you may not be used to the problems that occur on it at all. And don't be harsh on yourself when the first one failed. The first of anything usually doesn't go that well. Okay, happy modeling. Cheers.